Good morning. This is just a quick run through of how to set up your ITE 120 course and navigate it, and how to link it to MyLabIT and link those assignments to your gradebook. So if you copy the ITE 120 course directly into your Canvas shell and you copy everything, you're probably going to get more than you need, and you're going to have to delete some stuff, but that's really okay. It'll help you work your way through the course. Generally, what you have are a bunch of announcements that will come with it. These announcements are announcements that I made all last summer. You can choose to use them or not, but if you're going to use them, you're going to have to set up dates for those announcements to appear. Otherwise, in Student View, they're going to see them all from the first day, and so that's going to be really confusing. The syllabus for this course in this link is on this page. I've set it up so that you can link to different locations within the page at the top, because after all, I'm a web designer. And if you want to be able to edit it, in fact, you do have to edit it, so you can just edit each of these locations. Just click the edit button, and you can edit right in this view. Okay, just scroll down and find the stuff that you need to edit, like your name and your email address and your work phone. But you can also edit other information. Let me cancel that because I'm not editing right now. You can also edit under other information, like maybe you want a different organization of your course. I have 3 modules that are big picture things about basics of the computer and internet and networking and careers in IT and advanced topics. If you'd rather organize your course differently, that's absolutely fine. There's a textbook here, and I just realized the screenshot's missing, so be sure to put a new screenshot in there. And you know, your policies could be different from mine. For example, for assessment, this is how I break down my assessments. And in fact, I have a late policy where, you know, you can submit something up to 2 days late for a 10% per day penalty, but I also set that up to happen automatically in MyLabs and in Canvas, and the usual grading scale. And then you'll need to change your course schedule down here. This is my course schedule from summer, but I left it there so it'll give you a starting place so that you could edit it to fit what you want to do. Okay, so that's the syllabus. And let's skip modules for a second. We're going to go to discussions. Generally, these discussions are things that you can choose that you might find interesting for your class. We focus our discussions on the content that corresponds to programs that we have at the college to maybe get students interested in other classes that they might want to take. But you can add your own discussions. If you're in a distance course, generally we do 1 discussion a week or so. I'm going to click into grades. And you'll notice that I have a bunch of columns in here, and that's because I chose to copy the assignments over with it. Well, none of these columns that you see here are usable because there are links. Well, some of them are because they're within Canvas, but those links that are linking to the MyIT course are no longer available, and you can't relink them from here. The only thing that you can do is delete them and then re-add the link once you've established a link to your version of the MyIT course. So that's unfortunate that they don't relink, but I mean, that's just the way it is. So we'll learn how to do that in just a second. Let's see, what else do we have to cover? All right, so under modules, you're going to see that I have this set up. There's a start here at the bottom. There's a checklist for the students to follow to be able to make their way through the course and understand what's actually in the course, you know, how to get started, where their book is, just a place to go for them to start. But also in the start here is some information about Canvas. Okay, and this link right here, the Start Here link, is always dropped down when you go into this menu. After a while, I just move it because it gets in the way of stuff. So I just drag it down to the bottom once students don't have to start here anymore. You can choose to put up a PDF version of your syllabus if you want to right here. I may or may not do that this semester, but here are the 3 modules that correspond to the modules that you just saw in the syllabus. So for module 1, I always put up a table of contents and directions for the module, And then I organize it by topics. So there's the preliminary stuff, and each of these topics, by the way, corresponds to a line on the course schedule that the students see in the syllabus. So first of all, they need to do a discussion to meet each other, and then I ask them to do a quiz on the course so that I know that they know where to go to look for stuff. And they have to pass that quiz with 100 to move on. Then there are directions, very explicit, for them to get logged into MyIT Lab. They're not left hanging. So here's 3 steps basically. And then we fall into the course content with chapter 1, using technology to change the world. So I always put up a page of activities and assignments that consists of, here are the objectives for the chapter. Now they may be a little different because this is from the past book. So you're going to have to go into each of these and make sure they match up with what you want to put. Then there's the learning activities for the chapter, okay? And then there's the graded assignments for the chapter. Now, at this point, you can embed links to the assignments right within here. So I may be doing that this semester, but I didn't have time to get it done before the fall semester began. So at any rate, those are the activities and assignments. And then below that are the 2 assignments for this particular chapter 1. So there's a discussion and there's an end of chapter quiz, which is linked directly to MyIT Lab, but not yet. So let's go to MyLab and Mastering, because the next thing you're going to do before you can add in your assignments is go link your course to MyLab and Mastering. And if you've copied your course from the template, you're going to have a MyLab and Mastering link here. If you've not, you'll need to go to settings and you'll need to drag it up into the available locations. So go to MyLab and Mastering. And here's the location that will look different in a minute once you've connected your course to a MyLab and Mastering course. So just, if you're here, click Get Started. And then I'm going to give you a course ID. Everybody's going to use the same course ID because this is the course that I've set up for you guys to use. So the course ID, which I will email to you, 12159, and then click Search. Okay. And since this is the right one, this is our new book, this is a coordinator course, we're going to select this one. And you're going to enter some details. So this is a member section. You don't want to create a new coordinator course because then somebody else is going to want to copy it. Put your course name in here. This is ITE 120 D01, Intro to Information Systems. And I just put my name at the top. And then I don't put anything here. And the start date is August 21st. And the end date, now this is a 16-week course, so you need to change these dates. October, November, December, and I think grades are due that day. I'm not going to let instructors copy the course, and I'm going to ask to create the course. Okay. Now it can take up to 3 hours to create. It doesn't usually take that long. You'll get an email confirmation, but once you've got that email confirmation, then you can go ahead and look at the content available for this in your course. So I'm going to go over to a course where I have this set up. Let's see, this one already. And if I go to MyLab and Mastering, I haven't copied my other course into this one yet, but now it's going to look a little bit different. So instead of Get Started, you see Open MyLab and Mastering. I don't often use that link, actually. I use the MyLabIT Instructor Access. So let's go there first because we'll work on grade sync in a second. So MyLabIT Instructor Access. A couple of things you need to know. So this is the main view that you're going to see for editing your material. So you're going to notice that there's Chapter 1, Appendix A, Chapter 2, Chapter 4. This is the order it's in the syllabus. And so I've made all this work for you. But the other way that you can look at their course materials is as Add from Library. So right here on this side is the course that I have set up for you. Notice I have some hidden stuff for you. But there's also over here the original content that the textbook gives us. So you may find stuff in here that you'd like to use as part of your class that isn't over here under my course. So for example, if I look at Chapter 4, under my course, you'll see that it is the end of chapter quiz. Let me go back to something where I haven't done anything in there yet. Let's go to chapter 5. And so chapter 5, end of chapter quiz, and chapter 5, IT Sim. It's shown to students and it hasn't been started, okay? But over here in chapter 5, if you open up all of the content available for chapter 5, these are student resources like a PowerPoint presentation, a link to the book, instructor resources like, notes, grader solution instructor files, and things like that. But here are the activities that you can use for students. So there's a whole bunch of other type of activities that you could add here if you wanted students to do, for example, a sound bite in addition to what we do for the college. So there's a bunch of stuff over here. If you wanted to do hard disk anatomy, you could just select it and add it over to the right-hand side, and it'll ask you if you want to do scheduling options, and I'm just going to say no because I don't really want to add it right now. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my Managed Course Materials library view. And there's a couple of things that you need to do. So just staying here in chapter 5, this chapter 5 end of chapter quiz, this little kind of a hamburger button here, if you click down on it and you choose edit, you're going to see this window. So we'll forget about activity details for now. There's two things that you have to do. You need to schedule it so it's on the calendar, but you also need to look at the questions, okay? And for now, we have 15 questions for 15 points. You don't have to look at this part for quizzes because this is set up correctly. But under preferences, if you want to set a grace period, you can go down here, enable the grace period. I put 10% for every 1 day, maximum deduction of 100%, but they'll never get there because I set the scheduling so that it only allows 2 days past the due date. Okay, so since I'm happy with this, I'm going to save and return. There are a whole bunch of other things you can do in here, by the way. And then now that I have saved it, I'm going to go here and I'm going to schedule it. All right, now I actually started it, so let's get out of that. The mouse movements here are really tiny. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to set my scheduling options. And in here is where you want to assign it with a due date. So suppose, since this is August 12th, I'm just going to assign it to be due on the 28th of August at 11:59 p.m. I'm going to restrict the availability, and I'm going to set that availability date range to be, I'm going to leave the start date blank because I just leave it open for the whole semester. And then I'm going to set the end date visibility to be, since I want it the 28th and I give them 2 days grace period, and that's going to be 11:59 p.m. Okay. And then I'm going to always show the items to students to prevent them from opening them before or after the dates. Okay. And then let's see, what else do I do in this section? Okay. The other thing to notice is if you need to make this item available, you can make it available after the due date for selected students, and you can pick the student from the list. So if you have students that need extra time or have an excuse, you can do that there. And I'm going to save it. Oh, enter a valid date and time. What did I do? Maybe I have to add a start date. So let's just add today as the start date and save it. Okay. So now it says it's scheduled between 8:12 and 8:30. It's due on 8/28 at 11:59 p.m. And you'll see this assigned little clock over in that column. Okay, so that's a lot, but you'll have to do that for every assignment in this MyIT lab. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the course. I'm just going to minimize this, and let's go to Grade Sync. Actually, let's go to Grade Sync settings first. Okay, so We want automatic grade sync to be on for all of the items in the gradebook. Okay, so these are all of the items that are assigned within my IT lab, one of which we just gave a due date to. So these are all assigned. They don't have due dates yet, except for the chapter 5 that we just did. Okay, so I want them all to be automatically updated as students take them in the gradebook. So now if I say sync grades now, that's going to create items in the gradebook for them. Okay, and let's sync grades now. So you could see we have little spinning icons. It'll say sync, sync, sync. You don't actually have to sync them all now. If you wanted to, you could create just a few of these at a time and sync them as you like in your gradebook. But depending on the student, like I had students in the summer who were working ahead on this stuff because they knew they could, which was fine with me. They can work ahead and do these quizzes and sound bites and stuff if they want to. All right, so those are all synced. And let's see, what else is the last thing I need to talk to you about? I think that is about it. Help and support is wonderful for MyLab and Mastering. So if you want to go there and get some more information, you can, or you can email me. I think that just about covers everything you need to know right now.